Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. So, we now know that our favorite Star Forger, Aurelion Sol, is going to be reworked, right? And it's being called a comprehensive gameplay update, or CGU for short. And it really does sound a lot better than the a bit more than Diana, but less than Kale update. Now, what a CGU means is that all of Aurelion Sol's abilities are getting changed. To what extent? Well, we kind of know a little bit. We know that their goal is to give Aurelion Sol an entirely new kit with massive changes similar to VGUs like Urgot and Scion, and still keeping like the thematically cohesive part of it, so making sure that the abilities still match the theme. So Star Forger kind of deal, right? But as I said before in my last video, I'm very excited to see that Asol is getting changed, and while I'm sad that we'll have to eventually say goodbye to the abilities that we all fell in love with, I'm eager to see how his gameplay would change with the CGU. But I don't want to spend hours speculating on what they could possibly be cooking up in their easy bake oven of champions, so I'll just go for what I'd like to see from the rework. The rework. The rework. The rework. I haven't taken some time to think about what the skills should be like. In fact, I spent a lot of time over the year I picked up Asol and think about this like in the shower, like, oh, what can you do with this ability or that ability? So I'd really like to just talk a little bit about what I think the abilities should be, or what at least my ideas are what the abilities could be. Now, a few things. What I want is a cohesive skill set that completes the fantasy of playing a Cosmos roaming star forging space dragon, and it feels rewarding to play. And that means when I say rewarding, I mean I just want the abilities to set up each other, kind of like how he is right now. You know, you set up you set up your Q with your ultimate, and to set up your damage with your W kind of deal, and do other stuff with that. But what I really want is massive supernovas, starfire, everywhere, and thinking flying portals, think with portals, explosions, beams. Did I mention stars? So I'm not really going to go over like its individual ability, because I don't really know what they're going to do, if they're just going to take each ability and like kind of keep the feel of it, or if they're going to change it drastically. Sometimes they decide either or. I mean, if we talk about Urgot and Scion, they have some similar abilities to what they had before, and then a lot not. But really, I'm just going to talk about what I would really like to see on Aurelion Sol. This is by no means what they could really come up with, but in short, it has a lot to do with stars. So firstly, I'm not going to go with reachability. We're just going to talk about the very base things of what I want to see. Stars. Now, when we talk about stars, I really want to maybe see Aurelion Sol create a star in a location. Now, one of the abilities could be that it kind of, you have a star here, it explodes, and does maybe some damage or some sort of CC, or it could like implode and draw people in, similar to an Ori ultimate. Now, you could have like a charge aspect to this, where you have to charge it to a certain amount, and I could see where that could be difficult, because, well, if you just put a thing on top of someone and you charge it up, they're obviously going to walk away. But I would definitely say put in some like supportive abilities in there to make sure you can keep them in for as long as possible. Have a little bit of skill in there, how you set up your abilities properly. And also the star ability would be very reminiscent of Aurelion Sol's lore, because if you've read some of the stories, there's a story where Aurelion Sol is called down by Pantheon to solve a problem, and that problem is a big old voids portal. And what does Aurelion Sol do? Being the kind of pompous asshole that he is, he just freaking creates a star on top of it and explodes it. Just burns it away. Let's make that one of his abilities, because that's a very iconic thing. If you've read the lore, very iconic thing for Aurelion Sol is just creating a star, and then that's how he solves his problems. Just
first you start with some matter, then add starfire, and voila, it basically does the rest itself.
Maybe an ultimate or a Q or something. It's still a bit reminiscent of his current Q, because that's what he does. He creates a star and it travels out and explodes and stuff like that. But if we wanted to have more of a control mage aspect to him, give him a little bit more of an interesting flair, I think a charge ability would be really cool. Now, if we want to keep the DPS aspect of Asol intact, which is what his W currently does, we can do a couple things. One of the things I thought of is maybe have a star storm of some kind, and there's a few ways we could do this. One of the ways is just have a radial area around him that drains his mana, and in that area it does damage. You have stars flying around, doing damage and stuff like that. Very similar to what he has currently, but just like an AoE around him, kind of keeping that battle mage aspect, kind of similar to how Jace has like an area around him that does damage with his like electrical area thing. Very similar, but a lot bigger, obviously, because we are a space dragon. We want to do damage with stars, and there's stars. How can the stars just hit like one spot? It's a big ass star. Now, if we don't want to do the AoE around him, if you want to have more of a skill shot aspect to it, you could have a star storm in an area, very similar to the Nivea ultimate, but you have like stars just falling down for a specific time. Very generic ability, obviously. It's nothing special. It's very similar to a misfortune, like make it rain kind of deal. Nothing too special. Now, obviously, we don't have to do the DPS route. We can go with burst damage, kind of a control mage kind of deal. If you wanted to keep Aesol a DPS mage, give me some ideas down in the comments below. Now, talking about his movement is very important, because this is one of the iconic things about Aurelion Sol, and what keeps him in a high win rate right now amongst the few players that play him in high elo, is the fact that he can romp around quite well. His E gives him a lot of access to other areas of the map that a few champions can do, and they all do it pretty well in different ways. But his ability to gank lanes is very iconic. So if we wanted to keep that movement, I think either you keep the ability the way it is, maybe make a change to it, kind of similar to a Scion's shield, or you can change it completely and maybe kind of keep the remnants of the old ability in it, kind of like an Urgot E. It would definitely be some sort of like, I think a portal would be kind of cool. We know that Aurelion Sol can make portals because he literally does it when he backs. He uses the portal to go back to the fountain, make a portal, make it kind of a channel ability. Maybe make it similar to Tahm Kench's W, and instead of like, if you wanted to do that battle mage kind of aspect, maybe you have that AoE damage around him, and he kind of just pops in with like an explosion, or he like zooms in like a star kind of deal, and he does a bunch of damage around him. You have the stars, you have the damage around him. That'd be kind of neat. It'd be kind of cool, I think, but maybe that'd be too much for a mage. A lot of the times they don't give mages a lot of ability, like movement, unless they're assassin oriented, like Ari or something like that, or Diana. Most of the time we know that they're going to keep him a mage. They're probably not going to give him a big huge movement ability like that. So if they're not going to do that, I would like them to at least give him a supportive ability. Now, I'm going to talk about the E in specific, because E on the skill bar is usually a supportive ability in one way or another. Most of the damage and CC comes out of the W or the Q, and the E is more of a supportive ability, usually doing less damage than the other abilities, but allows you to set up for the other abilities, the ultimate, your Q, your W. For example, on Xerath, his E is just the ball. It stuns, depending on the length it travels and hits the enemy. It stuns and sets up for all of his other abilities. Talking about other big reworks, Urgot's E is a setup ability. It sets up for his W, gives him a supportive shield. Scion, similar, gives him a slow, allows him to set up his Q and his W for massive damage. So we want some sort of setup ability. It could be like some sort of star that slows them in an area, or some sort of thing that lets you control them in some way. Giving him a supportive ability would be super useful and allow him to set up a lot easier. But yeah, tell me what you think down below. As I've said many times already, this isn't really talking about whether we want the rework to happen or not. It's happening. Now I would like to have discussion about what we would like from the rework. So what would you like to see? Tell me in the comments down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed and want to see more content like this. I make content about League of Legends, particularly usually about guides and stuff like that, or funny videos, but recently we've been talking about Aurelion Sol because he's one of my favorite champions, and if you like niche champions, then you would like this channel as well. I also stream Friday, Saturday, Sundays. We're doing the climb, playing more Aesol, I'm playing more Azir, and picking a few more champions to see what I like currently this season in this patch. And yeah, if you want to see that, come join. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Down the boulevard, cruising with the windows down.